Hello everyone, IceCool Tech here. So I hear you've been having some battery drain problems since updating your iPhone or iPad to iOS 16 last fall. Well, if that's the case, you probably wouldn't be watching this video, but you are not alone. Many users have been complaining about battery drain since updating their iDevices to iOS 16, so in this video, we're going to be discussing just that. But before we get into that, iOS 16.4.1 did just release to the public a few days ago, so we'll go over a quick recap of what is new in case you missed it. Anyways, let's get straight to the video. Alright, so coming in at a few hundred megabytes, last Friday, iOS 16.4.1 did release to the general public with a couple of noted fixes here. So for example, pushing hands emoji does not show skin tone variations, and something a little bit more critical depending on the scenario that it happens in, Siri does not respond in some cases. So it's good to know that Apple has addressed these issues. Of course, there are probably some other bug fixes within this update that Apple did not list here, as they usually do not provide an extensive list of every single thing they've fixed. Now, iOS 16.4.1 does also fix some critical security issues, and considering it's a very small update, there's really no reason that you should stay on 16.4.1. I would highly recommend updating to 16.4.1 if you are already on iOS 16.4. Alright, so let's talk about the battery issues with iOS 16. Alright, so pulling out my daily driver here, which is my iPhone 14 Pro Max, and just like the good old days before I talk about battery, we're going to take a look at my maximum battery capacity, which is currently 100%. Now, it is worth noting that I've had this iPhone since launch, so that capacity could be on the verge of going under, which, we can only hope. Another thing here is that I am currently on iOS 16.5 Developer Beta 2. So my experience here may vary a little bit with yours depending on your iOS release as well as your iPhone model, but definitely iOS release, considering that some of you may be on iOS 16.4.1, iOS 16.4, or an older release of iOS 16. So going back to our battery settings here. Alright, so taking a look at the last 9 days here, don't ask what happened to the 10th day, you really don't want to know. We can see here, for example, last Saturday, at the time of recording at least, my screen active time was just over 5 hours and 10 minutes. Now, I used about 65% of my battery, and this is actually really bad because if I use this up to 100% of the battery, we're talking about maybe 8 hours, if I'm lucky, of screen on time, which is really bad. At this phone's peak, usually I'd expect to see about 10 hours total, so 5 hours at about 50%. And even on the really good days I would. Now Monday is an exception, 6 hours, 50%, total about 12 hours. This is the level I'd expect to see on iOS 15 with my iPhone 13 Pro Max, for example, usually what I would see with that one. Now the thing is, a couple years ago I made a video similar to this one where I talked about the iOS 13 battery drain and overheating, specifically with the iPhone 7 models. Now the difference this time around is that the phone does not overheat in my experience. So back then, iPhones would really overheat with iOS 13, especially the iPhone 7, to the point where sometimes I actually had to put it down because it would get really warm, especially in like these areas up here. Now, I have not had that issue at all with this iPhone. My iPhone 14 Pro Max, I don't think has overheated a single time since I've gotten it. Actually, that's a lie. It's overheated about twice since I've gotten it, but that's over 6 months now. So that's really good. And yet it's only been for a short amount of time, and it wasn't attributing really to major battery drain. So there is something with iOS 16 that is causing this drain, and it has not been addressed by Apple yet, and I don't think it's planned obsolescence. Over the years, I've really paid attention to the battery behavior over iOS updates and over different iPhone models, especially with my iPhone 13 Pro Max, because how amazing it was with battery life from launch. And I never really saw true signs of planned obsolescence. Even on the iOS 16 beta, the battery life wasn't terrible, and when it was because it was one of those days on, iOS 16 Developer Beta 1 where the phone was overheating a lot, especially when I was in the choose a new wallpaper menu. That thing overheated like crazy when the second you open that menu up. So it's really interesting to me, and I really would love to find out what's going on. Now, due to the fact that iOS 16 is as buggy as it is, I do believe that this is just a bug causing battery drain that will be fixed in a future update. And by future update, I mean potentially iOS 16.5. iOS 16.5 has been really consistent with battery life so far, arguably the most consistent battery life I've had on iOS 16 ever. Also, battery life has been pretty good on iOS 16.5 throughout the beta process. And 16.5 beta 2 in the past 24 hours that I have been using it has so far had better battery life than beta 1. Actually, I'd say that my battery life in the past 24 hours has been the best it has been ever on this phone. So there's something to look forward to. I'm going to keep an eye on iOS 16.5 on my iPhone 14 Pro Max to see where it goes. Of course, if you are running iOS 16 on your device, which you probably are considering you're watching this video, make sure to let me know in the comments below if you're experiencing any of the issues, especially overheating, because I would love to hear from you if you are experiencing overheating still. Alright everyone, that is all I have for this video. Now if you did find it helpful in any way, shape, or form, make sure to leave a thumbs up down below to let me know. Of course, while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Every new subscriber means a lot and it is very appreciated. Of course, and make sure to enable notifications so you're always up to date with the latest iOS battery drain content. Anyways, thank you all for watching and I will see you in the next one.